What if I told you that by the time you finish your morning routine, your brain has already made over 200 decisions? And what if I told you that this invisible mental workload is secretly sabotaging your entire day, making you feel overwhelmed, scattered, and exhausted before you even realize what's happening? Here's the truth that no one talks about. Your brain has a daily energy tank for making choices, and for most of us, it's running dangerously low by noon. This isn't about being weak or lazy. This is about understanding one of the most overlooked aspects of how your mind actually works. Every choice you make, from what to wear to which text to answer first, is like a tiny withdrawal from your mental bank account. And when that account runs empty, everything becomes harder. You procrastinate on important decisions. You snap at people you care about. You reach for comfort food or scroll mindlessly through your phone because your brain is literally too tired to choose something better. But here's what gives me hope, and what should give you hope too. Once you understand how decision fatigue works, you can outsmart it. You can reclaim your mental energy and feel clear and confident in your choices again. Why this matters decision. Fatigue isn't just about feeling tired after a long day of choices. It's about how mental exhaustion quietly shapes every area of your life. When your brain is overwhelmed by too many decisions, you're more likely to avoid important conversations, put off meaningful goals, and feel stuck in patterns that don't serve you. You might find yourself saying, "I don't know," or "I don't care" more often, not because you truly don't care, but because your decision-making system is overloaded. This affects your relationships, your work, your health, and your sense of personal control. Understanding decision fatigue is understanding why some days feel impossibly hard, even when nothing particularly dramatic has happened. In this video, you'll learn exactly what decision fatigue is from a neuroscience perspective, what's actually happening inside your brain when you feel mentally drained. You'll discover what this process does to both your mind and body, and why it leaves you feeling so depleted. We'll explore the hidden daily choices that are secretly draining your mental resources, many of which you probably don't even realize you're making. And most importantly, I'll share 3 science-backed tools that can help you simplify your life and make smarter, easier choices throughout your day. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of how to protect your mental energy and feel more in control of your decisions. Understanding decision fatigue. What's really happening in your brain? Let's start with what decision fatigue actually is. Imagine your brain is like a smartphone. When you wake up in the morning, your battery is at 100%. But every single choice you make throughout the day, every decision, no matter how small, uses up a little bit of that battery power. Should I hit snooze or get up? What should I wear? Do I have time for breakfast? Should I take this route or that route to work? Do I respond to this text now or later? Each choice might only drain 1 or 2% of your battery, but they add up fast. By afternoon, your mental battery might be down to 30%. And just like your phone when the battery gets low, everything starts running slower and less efficiently. Here's what's happening in your brain during this process. There's a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex, right behind your forehead. Think of it as your brain's CEO. It's responsible for making decisions, solving problems, and controlling your impulses. When you're fresh and well-rested, your prefrontal cortex works beautifully. It can weigh options, consider consequences, and make thoughtful choices. But your prefrontal cortex runs on glucose, basically brain sugar. And decision-making burns through glucose faster than almost any other mental activity. As your glucose levels drop throughout the day, your prefrontal cortex literally has less fuel to work with. It's like trying to run a car on an empty gas tank. The engine might still turn over, but it's not going to get you very far. When your prefrontal cortex is running low on fuel, something interesting happens. Your brain starts looking for shortcuts. It begins defaulting to whatever feels easiest or most familiar, even if it's not the best choice. This is why you might find yourself ordering the same lunch every day, or scrolling through social media instead of working on that important project. Your brain isn't being lazy, it's being efficient with limited resources. But there's another layer to this. When your decision-making system is overwhelmed, your body responds as if you're under stress. Your brain releases cortisol, the stress hormone, which makes it even harder to think clearly. You might notice your heart beating a little faster, or feeling a sense of pressure in your chest when faced with too many choices. Your body is literally responding to decision overload as a threat. This is why grocery shopping can feel overwhelming when you're already tired. It's why choosing what to watch on Netflix becomes impossible when you've had a long day. It's not the choices themselves that are difficult. It's that your brain's decision-making system is running on empty. And here's something most people don't realize. Your brain doesn't distinguish between big decisions and small ones when it comes to using up mental energy. Choosing what to have for breakfast uses the same decision-making pathways as choosing whether to take a new job. Obviously, you'll spend more time thinking about the bigger decision, but the basic mental process is the same. This means that all those tiny choices throughout your day, what to wear, which route to take, whether to answer that email now or later, are quietly draining the same mental resources you need for the important decisions. A real-life example. Let me tell you about Sarah, a college student who came to understand decision fatigue the hard way. Sarah woke up every morning feeling motivated and ready to tackle her day. She had big goals. She wanted to exercise regularly, eat healthy meals, keep up with her coursework, and maintain her friendships. But by evening, she felt like a completely different person. Every day started the same way. Her alarm would go off, and immediately she'd face her first decision. Should she get up now or hit snooze? Then, what should she wear? She'd stand in front of her closet for 10 minutes, trying on different outfits. Next, what should she eat for breakfast? She'd stare into the refrigerator, unable to decide between cereal, toast, or just grabbing something on campus. Walking to her first class, she'd get 3 text messages and have to decide whether to respond immediately or wait. In class, she'd face dozens of micro-decisions. Should she take notes by hand or on her laptop? Should she sit in her usual spot or try somewhere new? Should she ask that question or wait until after class? By lunchtime, Sarah noticed she was already feeling mentally foggy. She'd end up eating whatever was closest, not because she was particularly craving it, but because choosing felt too hard. In the afternoon, when it came time to work on her assignments, she'd find herself staring at her to-do list, unable to decide where to start. Everything felt equally important and overwhelming. By evening, when her friends invited her to hang out, Sarah would often say no, not because she didn't want to see them, but because making one more decision about her social life felt impossible. She'd end up spending the evening scrolling through her phone, feeling guilty about all the things she hadn't accomplished. Sarah thought she was just being lazy or unmotivated. She didn't realize that she had used up her daily quota of mental energy on hundreds of tiny decisions before she ever got to the choices that really mattered to her. Once she learned about decision fatigue, everything clicked. She wasn't failing at life. She was just trying to make too many decisions with a tired brain. 3 practical tools to fight decision fatigue. Now that you understand what's happening in your brain, let's talk about how to protect your mental energy. Here are 3 science-backed strategies that can help you make better choices all day long. Tool 1. The power of pre-decisions. The first tool is something I call pre-decisions, making choices about recurring situations before you're actually in them. This works because it moves decisions from your tired evening brain to your fresh morning brain, or even better, to a dedicated planning time when you're mentally sharp. Here's how to apply it. Identify the decisions you make over and over again, and make them once instead of daily. For example, instead of deciding what to wear every morning, you could plan your outfits for the week on Sunday evening. Instead of staring into the refrigerator every day wondering what to eat, you could decide on 3 go-to breakfast options and rotate between them. The psychological reason this works is that it takes advantage of something called habit loops. When you pre-decide, you're essentially creating a mental shortcut. Your brain doesn't have to engage the energy-intensive decision-making process. It just follows the plan you've already made. This is why successful people often wear similar clothes every day or eat the same breakfast for months at a time. They're not being boring. They're being strategic about where they spend their mental energy. Think about Steve Jobs with his black turtleneck, or Barack Obama with his blue and gray suits. They understood that every decision you don't have to make is mental energy you can use for something more important. Start small with this strategy. Pick one recurring decision in your life. Maybe what you eat for lunch or what time you go to bed. And make that decision once for the whole week. Notice how much mental space it frees up. Tool 2, the 2-option rule. The second tool is the 2-option rule, and it's based on research showing that having too many choices actually makes us less happy with whatever we choose. When faced with endless possibilities, our brains can get stuck in analysis paralysis. But when we limit ourselves to just 2 good options, decision-making becomes much easier and more satisfying. Here's how it works. Whenever you're facing a choice that's causing you stress, deliberately limit yourself to just 2 options. If you're trying to decide what to do for exercise, don't consider every possible workout. Just choose between going for a walk or doing yoga at home. If you're picking a restaurant for dinner, narrow it down to 2 places you know you'll enjoy. The psychological principle behind this is called choice overload theory. Researchers have found that while having some choices makes us happy, having too many choices creates anxiety and regret. When you limit yourself to 2 options, you're working with your brain's natural preference for simplicity, not against it. This doesn't mean you're settling for less. It means you're being strategic about how you present choices to your tired brain. You can still have high standards. You can still end up with exactly what you want. But instead of overwhelming yourself with infinite possibilities, you're creating a manageable decision-making process. Try this the next time you're struggling with a choice. Ask yourself, what are the 2 best options here? Then choose between those 2. You'll likely find that the decision becomes much clearer and you'll feel more confident about whatever you choose. Tool 3, the energy audit. The third tool is conducting what I call an energy audit of your day. This means becoming aware of which decisions are draining your mental battery unnecessarily, so you can either eliminate them or move them to times when you have more mental energy. Here's how to do it. For one day, pay attention to every choice you make. Don't try to change anything yet, just notice. When do you feel mentally sharp? And when do you feel decision fatigue kicking in? Which choices feel easy? And which ones leave you feeling drained? You might discover that you're spending mental energy on decisions that don't actually matter to you. Maybe you spend 15 minutes every morning deciding which coffee shop to go to, when you actually enjoy them all equally. Maybe you stress about which workout clothes to wear, when the choice has no real impact on your day. The psychological insight here comes from attention theory. The idea that we have limited attentional resources, and where we focus our attention determines how we feel and what we accomplish. When you become conscious of where your mental energy is going, you can start redirecting it toward the choices that actually align with your values and goals. After you've done your energy audit, you can start making strategic changes. Move your most important decisions to times when your brain is fresh. Eliminate or automate the decisions that don't really matter, and create systems that make your meaningful choices easier. For example, if you notice that you always feel mentally drained after work, you might decide to do your meal planning and grocery shopping on weekends when you're more energized. If you realize that choosing what to wear stresses you out every morning, You might create a capsule wardrobe where everything goes together. A guided micro-reflection. Let's take a moment right now to put this into practice. I want you to do a quick mental exercise that will help you feel more in control of your decisions immediately. First, take a deep breath in through your nose and slowly exhale through your mouth. Let your shoulders relax. Now, think about your day so far. Without judging yourself, just notice. How many decisions have you already made today? Start from the moment you woke up. What time you got out of bed, what you wore, what you ate, which route you took to get where you are now, what you chose to do first, how you responded to messages or emails. Don't try to count them exactly. Just get a sense of how many choices you've already navigated. If you're like most people, it's probably more than you realized. Now, take another deep breath. Here's what I want you to understand. Every single one of those decisions took a little bit of mental energy, and that's completely normal. Your brain is doing exactly what it's designed to do. But here's the empowering part. Now that you're aware of this process, you have a choice about how to move forward. You can choose to be intentional about where you spend your remaining mental energy today. Think of one decision you know you'll need to make later today. Maybe what to have for dinner, or how to spend your evening, or what to work on next. Instead of waiting until you're tired to make that choice, could you make it right now while your awareness is heightened? Take a moment to make that decision. Choose something that aligns with how you want to feel at the end of today. Notice how it feels to make this choice from a place of clarity rather than mental fatigue. Take one more deep breath. You've just experienced what it's like to work with your brain's natural rhythms instead of against them. Your path forward. Here's what I want you to remember. As you move forward, you are not broken if you feel overwhelmed by choices. You are not weak if decision-making sometimes feels exhausting. You're not lazy if you've ever felt paralyzed by too many options. You are human, and your brain is working exactly as it's designed to work. Decision fatigue is not a character flaw. It's a biological reality. And now that you understand how it works, you have the power to work with it instead of against it. You can protect your mental energy. You can make choices that align with what matters most to you. You can feel clear and confident in your decisions again. The 3 tools we've talked about today, pre-decisions, the 2-option rule, and the energy audit, are not just strategies. They're ways of honoring your brain's needs and your own well-being. When you use these tools, you're not being lazy or taking shortcuts. You're being wise about how you use your most precious resource, your mental energy. Remember, this is a practice, not a perfection. You don't have to implement all of these strategies at once. You don't have to get it right immediately. Start with whichever tool feels most relevant to your life right now. Try it for a week and see how it feels. Notice what changes, both in your energy levels and in your confidence with decision making. Your future self will thank you for every small choice you make today to simplify your mental load. Every decision you don't have to make is energy you can invest in the things and people that matter most to you. You are not lazy. You're just tired of deciding everything alone, and now you don't have to. I'd love to hear which of these tools resonates most with you. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's one recurring decision in your life that you could turn into a pre-decision? What's one area where you could apply the 2-option rule? What did you discover when you thought about your daily energy audit? And if this video helped you understand something new about how your mind works, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. We're building a community of people who want to understand their minds better so they can live with more intention and less overwhelm. Remember, every choice you make is an opportunity to move toward the life you actually want. And now you have the tools to make those choices from a place of clarity and strength. Thank you for spending this time learning about your amazing brain. I'll see you in the next video.